Hey, I'm Blizzard Planet. Imagine this. You're ready to critically think, creatively think, and approach life with relentless optimism. And have fun while you do it. So you visit Planit Butter, a world made of sparkly peanut butter. And the queen, Blissi, the disco ball of self-reflection, is whirling around in her transforming convertible. This is from my planet to yours. The I stands for intuition. Intucentricism. Planit Butter's philosophy. Stick with me. The show is where we reflect on society and practice leading with our intuition, prioritizing self-control and self-expression, while holding space for the feelings, desires, and experiences of others. Intucentricism. Stick with me. I'll show you how. Thanks for joining me in my 63rd episode. As always, please email me any questions you have about your world or Planit Butter's philosophy. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. So last week, I ended the show telling you guys that I heard somewhere somebody said that gravity is like glue. And I was like, there's a lot to say about that. I don't know what yet. Let's think about it. Let's play. So I played. And actually, I've decided that gravity is more like a seatbelt, not glue. Because think about it. We're floating in space. Earth is in space. We are part of space, the universe. So to keep us from floating off of Earth and into space, we have a seatbelt called gravity. Because we can technically fly off of Earth, right? Planes, rockets, we're already exploring other parts of space, right? So we have, like, it's not glue. Glue keeps you down. Seatbelts are like a suggestion. Buckle up. Glue is like, stay forever. Gravity is not like glue. Gravity is like a seatbelt. Now, the how for everything. Because I love to remind us that everybody's how is different. However, another thing I remind us all is that we have not so unique ideas, but unique arrivals. Most of the time, ideas aren't unique. However, the way we arrive at ideas will forever be unique. So it's the same with how. How we do things, well, it's not the same, but similar. How we do anything will vary per person. And the how is always the fundamental things involved in a how are personal responsibility and magic. Personal responsibility, through Planit Butter's lens, is the willingness to do more, do less, and pivot, while trusting the uni's got the rest. That's the magic. The magic, quote unquote, as I love to call it, is really just the stuff we can't fathom. Magic. The stuff we can't fathom. Because we're just humans. We have incredible intellect, but there's still so much we cannot possibly understand. And maybe one day we'll evolve to understand, but right now, no. So, magic. And on taking responsibility, let's dig into that a little bit more. Again, through Planit Butter's lens, taking responsibility is the willingness to do more, do less, and pivot. Doing more is reflecting, acting, considering. Doing less is resting, receiving, releasing. And pivoting is perspective dancing, which is taking a fact, phrase, perspective, and finding, creating creating a way to view it from an empowered and optimistic lens. That's perspective dancing. The other two pieces of a pivot are the reverse clause, Planit Butter's reverse clause, which is approaching things in an inside out, backwards, inverse, or whatever kind of way. It's the perpetual question of what makes sense to me. Not me, you. For me, I ask me. For you ask you. What makes sense to me? And the third part of a pivot is objectivity. So we become objective so that we can perspective dance and do the little reverse clause. So again, taking responsibility. Do more, do less, pivot. You got it. And then email me if you have any questions. Lastly on that is a note on magic. If we think that we need magic in an area of our life where it's not apparently showing up, then we do not need it there yet. It's an invitation to take more responsibility in that area if we are outsourcing magic or relying on magic in an area where we don't think we see magic, because there's always magic because we don't know about it, right? However, if we think it needs to show up somewhere and it's not showing up, then that means we need to take more responsibility. Very important detail. Also, expecting magic where it's not blatantly obvious is also creating resistance because you're not taking personal responsibility. We need to take personal responsibility where we think there needs to be magic. If you think there needs to be magic and it's not showing up, I've said this so many times now, slowly find where you can take more responsibility. Double down, triple down, quadruple down, do what you got to do, find a way. There's something that you can do. It could be something tiny. Just do something. The uni will see your efforts and love you for it. Now, while things take time, time is really just a mix of energy, to put it simply. So if we shift energy, we're playing with time. Example, I have a little coffee table where I keep my, I was looking at myself, hi baby, where I keep my copy, one of my copies of my coffee table book with a lesson. And on that coffee table, well, actually, I just gifted that book to a friend who asked for it, which was so cute. And I signed it for him. It's going to be priceless. Already is. So I have since moved that energy from the table and have some seashells and Palo Santo on the table. And I have 2 little Planit Butter postcards on this table. And what I do now, since gifting that book, every morning, afternoon, whenever I feel like it, okay, I literally just shift the shells and the Palo Santo and the postcards around the table in like a different order just to mix up the energy, playing with time, Planit Butter's time specifically, because the energy of Planit Butter is just like boom, boom, boom on that table. So I'm like, move, 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 bah, bah, bah. Magic, time, energy, whatever. It's fun. Just try it. It makes me feel good and it keeps the energy fresh. It really does. Try it. Okay. Also, I've shared with you guys recently on Planit Butter's Instagram that Dr. Jill Bolt Taylor has clarified for us that emotions take only 90 seconds to process. Okay? So that means that if an emotion is lasting longer than 90 seconds, that's you ruminating on the thought. Now, this can be a positive experience or a negative one. The choice is yours. We can repeat positive thoughts and the release of the new emotion can be a positive one, or we could ruminate on negative thoughts and the release can be an unpleasant emotion. The choice is yours. So I did the math. We have 960 emotional experiences in a day. That is 960 sets of 90 seconds in 24 hours. I'm not a math girl, but I played. It was fun. Partially for silliness, partially for this perspective. 960 emotional experiences a day. So consider your dominant emotional experience in those 960 sets of emotional processing. Are you happy with your decision? If not, how are you going to take responsibility for it? Let me know. Now, a popular phrase that I've been seeing, I think Mel Robbins coined it, let them do this, let them do that, right? Like whatever it is, just let them. But when I see people talk about it, it's like negative things. Let them treat you like shit so you know where they stand. Let them blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's true. Great reminder. And let them, but for the good stuff. Because I think sometimes some of us have a little resistance or a hard time accepting the good stuff from people because of past trauma. That's really it. It's always trauma. Childhood, baby. Now, this is hilarious. These guys at my gym/spa, there's a pool lounge area. It's pretty social with these two guys. It's a bit of a younger crowd, like we're all 20s, 30s, some 40s, all right? But these two guys are clearly on the older side, and it was a pretty busy day. They come and they walk towards me to sit because there was some space next to me, and I said something friendly to them, whatever, and we had a little chat. And then they jokingly, but half jokingly, said, "Don't leave too soon. It'll make us look bad." And while it is a half joke, the half of it that's not a joke is unfortunately all the guys in society who give men a bad reputation have made perfectly kind gentlemen like them have to ask women to not leave too soon so they don't look bad. It's so fucked up. It's like the loud ones always cause the problems, right? So the men in society that people love to hate on do suck, but not all men suck. In fact, I would say most don't. We just are aware of the shit ones because they're shit and people focus on shit. But if we focused on not shit, men wouldn't have such a bad rep. And yeah, I could say more. We could talk about women too, but I'm not gonna. That was the note. You get it. We had a good giggle. Moving on. Here's an important reminder. Just because we start something actually doesn't mean we need to finish it. Sometimes it's just a little seed of action for other inspiration. And speaking of seeds, sometimes it's just time to water a seed, and there doesn't necessarily need to be anything else. Sometimes our little inspiration is just like, check in on that little guy over there. And then you go, okay, I will water this one. And you just let it grow. Step away. Do the little inspired action and then step back and go do whatever comes next. Sometimes it'll grow. Sometimes it won't grow. Just keep going with your inspired action. Self-friendship, the commitment to embracing, understanding, and enjoying ourselves. Get inspired. Check your boundaries. Embody confidence because you've respected those boundaries once you've checked them. And then you'll operate in alignment, which is embodying your role in the ever-expansive universe. And in that, you get to embrace, understand, and enjoy yourself. The silliest. Okay. Oh, cool. Okay, here's a perspective dance. It's experience, not a limitation, unless you allow it to be. We allow it to be. If you think something is a limitation, perspective dance it. And that perspective dance can be, this is an experience. And then you decide what is the experience. And maybe especially because it's a limitation, it's likely a self-imposed one because of your belief system. Even if it's an external one, it's still self-imposed because you're allowing it to dictate whatever you're doing. So if an external circumstance seemingly is limiting you, self-reflect, self-connect. How can you take more responsibility? Can you do more, do less, or pivot? Think about it. All right. The uni, our darling universe, which, by the way, I was on a podcast the other day. It'll be out soon, Behind the Mic Wellness. I forget when the date it releases, but it was such a good episode. And I read one of my love notes that's in my opening of the chapter book, Planit Butter's chapter book, Far Out Fundamentals, coming soon. It was so good. And Scott, the host, pointed out to me, I mean, obviously I know this, but I forget that other people don't call the universe uni, and I just talk to uni regularly. So I'm like, that's my buddy. Like, it's like a little kid calling their parent mom or dad. It's like they hear their real name. It's like, what are you talking about? Because I kind of think the universe is like my parent in some ways. Because it's just looking out for me. Anyway, the uni keeps us on a need to know basis. It tells us what we need to know so that we do what we need to do so it can do its magic. Consider it. Now, Bali, I live in Bali. I'm based in Bali, Indonesia, this amazing, magical little island. And I've been convinced that there's an extremely potent energy here. And when I was telling one of my friends this, he told me that Bali is part of the Ring of Fire, which I didn't know was a thing, but it just sounded so cool. But apparently people know that this is a thing. And what it is, it's all of the countries that are on Earth's equator. So it's the hottest places. So it would make perfect freaking sense that it is a more potent energy. And that further blew my mind, especially because there's this other concept of Bali time. People joke about people being late or slow, and because it's Bali, it's an island life, la la. Here's the thing. I believe part of that potent energy that I observe in Bali, and I observe it because I see it in the experiences of people that I talk to here and myself, the intensity of it. And I think because I also have been really talking a lot about how time is not linear, and that's also the love note that I shared on Scott's show, Behind the Mic Wellness. My love note is about how time is not linear and relating it to Planit Butter's philosophy of intucentricism and further connecting it to the individual's timeline. And so Bali has this time. So it's like we've all collectively agreed on 24 hours in a day, 60 seconds in a minute, blah, blah, blah. And yet, I mean, this will vary place per place, but I'm talking about Bali, okay? Just Bali. I've found the energy to be potent, and I found the time to further enhance this belief of that potency and the fact that it is this ring of fire placement on Earth, and we're in space, and everything is entirely energy. It just makes so much sense because Bali time, there's something to say for the fact that collectively people experience the days as longer here. Like what happens in 2 days here might happen in a week somewhere else. And that's because we've all collectively agreed to those labels of like, it has only been 48 hours. It has only been whatever. However, because time is not linear, if we stripped away those labels of what time is and focus on just the experiences of whatever happens in that time being whatever the experience is, it would help in our evolution, in our development and expression of our healthy ego. Because we wouldn't be attributing it to a label. We wouldn't have the pressure of societal labels on whatever we've experienced in a set time frame, because all our emotional and physical experiences of time do not reflect the societal construct of what time is. So come to Bali, see for yourself. Now, that same friend that told me about the Ring of Fire also said to me, people love extremes because they're easier to wrap their heads around. I loved that because I found it very interesting because everything I talk about is entirely a nuance and entirely gray, if you will. So people loving extremes because it's easy to wrap their head around gave me a lot of understanding for navigating my communication of Planit Butter. So, and what I find so funny is we can perspective dance this, okay? Perspective dance. Consider reflecting on why an extreme is easier for you to wrap your head around, if it is for you. And maybe consider that gray is easier to wrap your head around, perhaps, because gray embodies all. It's the understanding of multi-perspectives. Gray is perspective dancing. Gray is oneness. Extremes are duality, which is really just a concept that we use to break down the understanding of oneness. Everything always comes back to oneness because that is all there is. Duality helps us understand it, but there's only oneness. So if you love an extreme, maybe consider the other extreme, and then you'll find yourself back in that gray. Oneness. Planit Butter. The development and expression of the healthy ego, a world made of sparkly peanut butter. Stick with me. All right. Now there's two types of compartmentalization. Narrow-minded and expansive-minded. Narrow-minded are those who compartmentalize as a means for categorizing and logic. There's nothing wrong with this. It's simply narrow-minded. Expansive compartmentalization is a form of emotional intellect because it's the separation of segments of a situation and dynamics, people, things, what have you, as a means for effectively interacting, engaging, understanding, and evolving. Consider it. Let me know if you have any questions. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. Now, why we should, quote unquote, have expectations. Nuances, people. While expectations in terms of results is rarely, if ever, productive, expectations in relation to standards in any given situation can be correlated to our boundaries. The first core method to activate our self-friendship, the commitment to embracing, understanding, and enjoying ourselves. While I expect Planit Butter to be a beast of a business, I don't have an expectation as to how. I just have the standard of high impact on society and for myself to take full responsibility for it. In relationships, if you don't have any expectations of a person, you might not have enough standards or boundaries. Because remember, if we're rooting this in boundaries, then you should have them, right? At least if you want to practice self-friendship and develop and express your healthy ego. Remember my phrase too. What we accept is what we deserve. Keep those standards high, baby. Now here's a cool one. The receiving side of people pleasing. The receiver of the people pleaser, if emotionally intelligent enough, likely will be able to identify that a person is people pleasing them, self-abandoning themselves for their needs. People pleasing is really a form of self-abandonment. And I've talked about this before. I don't remember the episode. Listen to all of them. So, on the receiving side, perhaps considering being considerate of your friend, friendly, or whatever, and encourage them to not people please. Ask them if they're sure that that's what they want to do and why. Challenge their self-friendship practice. Encourage their boundaries. Don't enable it by letting them bend and please you. And if you like that they're bending to please you, then you're not healthy and you need some help. Okay. Now, writer's block is bullshit. You don't have writer's block. You have resistance. Writing is literally putting your thoughts to paper or keyboard. So it's impossible to stop thinking, right? That means you're trying to write about something that's not in flow. If you're trying, you're resisting. You're resisting, you're not blocked. Drop the excuse. Lastly, intuition in small moments. The other day, I was at the gym. I did my sauna, my ice bath, all good things. And I had a smoothie on my walk to Sunset. And it's a high protein smoothie, like 33 grams of protein. And I finished it. It was delicious. Sunset was gorgeous. And I was full. I was probably going to eat again in a couple hours, but I was full. And even though I was full, my intuition was like, pizza, 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 pizza. It wasn't my stomach. My stomach was full. My intuition was like, go to Tony's Pizza. It's like a New York style pizza place here in Bali. And honestly, they do a really good job. So I was like, fuck, I'm full, but I can't say no to my intuition. I was like, I obviously am supposed to go to Tony's Pizza. And intuition always wins. So I went. I got a slice. It was delicious. I was super full by then. But intuition called, I answered. And when I arrived, I saw 2 of my lucky numbers right off the bat. So it was meant to be. Obviously, I was affirmed in being there. Nothing so dramatic happened. It was just affirmed. And that's why I'm sharing this, because our intuition is always with us. It does not only need to be referenced in these big pivotal moments where everybody's like, listen to your body, listen to yourself. This is what you know what you need to do. And it's like, yeah, true. But also sometimes it's just going to get a slice of pizza because your intuition said so. Planit Butter. It's about making life fun and staying in alignment. Your role in the ever-expansive universe. My role in that moment was to get pizza. We don't know why. Maybe I was supposed to deliver a message to the cashier that was super important for them to hear during our conversation. Or maybe I was supposed to talk to somebody else. Or maybe somebody else was supposed to say something to me. And it's just like, boop, bop, bop. And it's all supposed to be whatever it was. But we don't know why. Because that's the uni's magic. We don't need to know. Our intuition is just leading us along the way. And I'm always happy to have a slice of pizza. Whatever you want, uni. You see? Take that with you. I love you. Ta-da! Have a beautiful day. Email me any questions you have about your world or Planit Butter's philosophy. I will answer on the show. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. myplanettoyours@gmail.com. Thanks for visiting Planit Butter, my world made of sparkly peanut butter, where I hopefully inspire you to critically think, creatively think, and optimistically approach life. Believing in the magic, developing and expressing our healthy ego through the practice of self-friendship, which is the commitment to embracing, understanding, and enjoying ourselves, integrated with the PV jet ring of consciousness, our cycle for decision-making, intuition, sensations, action, sensations again. Cycle repeats. Keep listening. We'll get there together. It's not easy, but we can choose to make it fun. From my planet to yours, Blizzard. Bonus from my planet to yours, episodes featuring yours. Email me anything you're navigating in your world or wondering about. Each selected submission will be its own episode where I offer my perspective, dancing, and opinions through the lens of self-friendship. Well, really through the lens of intucentricism, forgive me. This is, of course, not a substitute for professional support. I'm editing my little outro script. live. We'll keep it in. Okay. Bonus episodes are now available once per month exclusively for founding members of Planit Butter's publication hosted on Substack. planetbutter.substack.com/subscribe. planetbutter.substack.com/subscribe. The link's also in the show notes or the link in my Instagram bio at Planit Butter. And of course, the coffee table book with a lesson, Party of One, Self-Friendship in Action, is available internationally on planetbutter.com and online retailers. Please subscribe and review wherever you are watching or listening. I love to hear your thoughts and appreciate your support. I'll see you next Thursday. Thanks for landing on Planit Butter. From my planet to yours, Blizzard.